When the cameras are off, it was pretty quiet. But when the cameras are on, it was absolutely the opposite.
Jake Paul, Team 10, they were the bold, rule-breaking squad that made YouTube into the ultimate viral stage. They turned chaos into an art form.
So Jake fires up his dirt bike in the house, drives it through the front door, and the camera pointed your direction, you got to act accordingly. And that was high energy, being funny, being expressive, no matter what.
500 days of daily vlogs made that house an unstoppable viral machine. This is Kade Speiser, the man behind the camera. Kade wasn't just a videographer. He was one of the founding members of Team 10, the brains behind the operation.
There's a lot of brainstorming that happened behind some of our biggest moments, and it happened the way we thought. It blew up the way we thought. Team 10 was a real company that had investors, investor money.
It seems like what you guys were doing was a part of that big shift where a lot of viewership was coming to the YouTube platform.
There was a little bit of real rivalry. One day Jake had more subs and more views. Next day Logan had more subs and more views. Secretly, they wanted to both be the more successful brother, I think, of course. A lot of the back and forth happened behind the scenes that no one will ever see or hear about, I guess, until now.
This conversation goes beyond one of YouTube's craziest runs in history. We actually dive deep into the lessons that stayed with Kade and gave his life purpose after the cameras turned off.
You're listening to the Created to Create show.
Well, thank you for being here, Kade Speiser.
Bro, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, dude. It's genuinely an honor. I remember meeting you, 6 months ago? 5-6 months ago?
Yeah, give or take.
Like that. Yeah. And I don't know, just been really intrigued by who you are and your story and wanted to share it, quite honestly, because I think you're someone who showcases a lot of just resilience in fighting through a lot of battles that at a young age, at a fresh out of high school young age, a lot of people would quit.
Appreciate
and they
that.
would, go take the easy route, but you kind of chose the hard route. Didn't really go to college, chose to pursue what a lot of people would call a dream, but for you, it was a sure thing, and not necessarily you knew what you wanted to do right away, but you knew the path you wanted to take to get there. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into all sorts of things.
I'm excited too, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here, and yeah, it's fun to chat with homies and just chop it up.
Dude, okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
You have been in the room for some of the craziest internet moments and with some of the craziest internet personalities in your career. Tell me something that most people wouldn't even understand. Tell me something that most people wouldn't believe about those rooms.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of method to the madness. Mm-hmm. And there also, simultaneously isn't. Some of the stuff that was premeditated was super viral and worked. And some of the super viral stuff was equally, not premeditated. But I think and I feel like this is true for a lot of the great content creators, what may look like lack of planning or maybe something organic could have been the plan, And there's a lot of brainstorming that happened behind some of our biggest moments, and it happened the way we thought. It blew up the way we thought it would. And I think, but also on the flip side, some stuff went crazy that we never thought would. But I do think a lot of the best content creators are spending more time behind the scenes. Even the ones that don't look like they are probably are, really planning, maybe not down to the second, but, really trying to orchestrate how things work and how it goes.
Right.
And I think there was more method to our madness than for sure what it looked like on camera.
Not just a bunch of kids running around doing whatever they want. Like you were planning most of it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty good balance. We started with a plan and we would just amp it up as the plan was happening, but we always had a direction we would go, and we knew kind of the end goal, and we would fill in the gaps in the middle. But it was based around what we kind of knew would work and what we thought would work, and trying things we thought would work. But there's a lot of experimentation mixed with a hunch that it would go great or work or blow up. A lot of the times, we were right, but again, on the flip side, a lot of it wasn't planned, but I do think a good amount of it was like, hey, I think if we do XYZ and we do it in this format, this could be a hit. And like that stuff would happen. So there's a lot of time when cameras were off, just kind of planning and thinking about it. And then going and executing. And again, not as planned as like if you're going to shoot a movie.
Right.
Like we're not going to be there at 4 p.m. and shoot at 4:30. It's like
no call times.
But, the general direction or plan or idea was pretty well thought out. And we kind of freestyled the execution. But I think people think a lot of it is organic, especially in that style of content, the vlog stuff. But I think there's a little more method to the madness than people thought.
Yeah, it sounds like there was a very definitive line even between being on camera and off camera.
For sure.
You say it? Okay.
For sure. I think at that time, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we were actors. Right. This is back, I think, when you really could do that on social media. Now, people have grown up with social media so much that you can't really fake a lot of content anymore.
Authenticity is super valued now. Yeah.
Back when we were doing it, which is 15, 16, 17, it was still a little more new, and I think you could get away with more. So when the cameras were off, it was pretty quiet. But when the cameras were on, it was absolutely the opposite,
Interesting. Okay.
So that's what I mean. Like behind the scenes, the planning wasn't like we're not yelling in a boardroom. It's just like, okay, we think this could work. Da 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 da. But the second you hit record, it's like game face. So I really say a lot of it was acting. I mean, I played a character. Basically everyone who we were vlogging with 7 days a week knew that when the camera pointed your direction, you got to act accordingly.
Right.
And that was high energy, being funny, being expressive, all that stuff. Right. And that was for sure understood by the cast, if you will.
Right.
But everyone who we filmed with knew that that's what it would take. And a lot of times if someone didn't bring the energy, we'd cut the camera, put it down and be like, yo, what, like, are you going to bring it or are you not going to bring it?
Yep.
But again, that might look not planned and that might look organic on camera, but there might have been retakes of something like, hey, I'm going to bust in the room and you need to like react because when I did it the first time organically, you didn't react well. I'm going to do it again and like react better.
Yeah.
And again, people don't think about that, and I think it's because it was a vlog format that we were doing. It was supposed to be your real life.
Yeah.
We can kind of get into how we didn't make it real life, which is, but
you kind of have to orchestrate some things, obviously, especially if you're creating a piece of content that's meant to be entertainment,
For sure.
What about people who look at that type of content and don't understand necessarily that it's supposed to be entertainment and kind of take it face value? I guess my question is, did you face a lot of criticism for that? And what was your thought process?
Yeah, we faced a lot of criticism. Our group was PG-13 also. So we chose not to swear. We chose not to be vulgar in lieu of like brand revenue.
Yeah.
So we faced a lot of backlash for being that, I think. It was easy to make fun of us for being like kiddie content. Even I wouldn't say it was, it was more PG-13 leaning. But, again, we didn't swear. If we did, it was bleeped out. We didn't really make bad jokes and stuff. So we faced some backlash for that. And yeah, I think like it was easy to laugh at our content for sure. I mean, we had a younger audience also, so like we didn't really appeal to people our age so much. Right. And that was another part of it. A lot of people who were creating content appealed organically more to people who were like them.
Yeah.
Because they were creating content that was more organic, less acting. Even if they were more animated on camera, maybe the subject matter was more like them or more age around their demographic. We kind of knew that we were appealing to a younger demographic and acted accordingly, I would say, with that understanding.
Right. Yeah, you had a plan. You weren't just going out and like you obviously were living life, but you weren't going out and just living life flippantly and then just being like, yeah, record anything and everything.
Right.
It wasn't like jackass necessarily. It was more so, hey, we're here for a reason. We're putting on a show so that people can watch this and kind of get smiles, get entertainment.
There was a big distinction from camera on, camera off. Always.
Right.
Like, like when you press record, it's like, we're rolling, yell across the whole house. so that everyone knew that at any moment we could bust in their room with the camera,
Yeah.
like it was very known. And then when we were done for the day, it would be like, we're done for the day. Everyone, it's all good. You can
Right.
play music or you can do whatever, but we're not rolling anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. It was very much, put your acting hat on. Although we were just kind of it was really one big improv, honestly.
Yeah.
Obviously no scripting. Again, we had a general plan, but what filled the plan wasn't planned,
Right.
None of the dialogue was planned. None of the interactions were necessarily planned. So it was kind of just one big improv day, and we were all the same character every single day.
100%. No, it's super interesting to hear. I think, we haven't necessarily talked about that a whole lot. So
No.
This whole podcast isn't going to be about that. I just want to make
No,
that clear.
I think it's cool to
But
talk about. Yeah.
I think it's cool. Like, it's a part of your history and a part of your creative mind as well. The way
Yeah.
you operate, and even now, talking about your agency, like posted, and how you're trying to incorporate some of those things for your clients now, and like, hey, like this is what grabs attention, this is what doesn't, stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting to peek behind the scenes a little bit, because I wasn't necessarily a consumer of your content, but like going back and watching it,
that's
again,
crazy.
like preparing for this, just watching a lot of it, it would seem like it's just a bunch of kids like kind of just living life, and whatever happens, and we're always just kind of like vlogging and always cameras on,
For sure. And some days it was like, we have no idea, we're just gonna like run around and film all day and make the most of it, for sure. But yeah, there was a lot that was really planned out. I mean, I attribute a lot of it was Jake Paul is really is a big mastermind, and always was, and I think still is very much so. And him and I would sit down and kind of pick a direction and execute on it in some fashion.
Right. Yeah. What was your relationship like with Jake, I guess? Not to get into the whole arc, but what was your relationship like with Jake Paul?
We can get into it. I mean, Jake and I were super close. We were vlogging 7 days a week. It was no matter what, no matter if people were sick, no matter if people were hungover, like no matter what, a video was going to go live. So we were together every single day. It was me and him. I was one of the first people that was on payroll with his company. Team 10 was a real company that had investor money. And so once he got funding, I was like the second hire outside of an assistant, was to be the content guy. So, all the friends could go do whatever and sleep in and but I was paid to be there.
You had
no
to work.
matter what. I had to work.
You had to wake up.
Yeah, I had to be, and I I really liked it. I really enjoyed it, but I was there at 7 a.m. every day. At this time I was shooting, editing, and posting the videos.
All of it. Wow.
Front to back in the very beginning.
Talk about a startup.
We worked out of a garage, legitimately.
Yeah.
Like, it was a real startup. We had a house in West Hollywood, like right off of Melrose. And it was Jake, myself, and Jake's assistant, Erica.
Yeah.
And it was very much a startup. When Jake wasn't filming, he's like on the computer the whole time, ripping emails and doing like investor calls, business calls.
Crazy.
So that's what I mean. When the camera was off and the camera was on, was super different, because for the first half of the day, I was editing from 7 a.m. to like noon. I was just in my corner editing the video. Jake was doing actual business. It would just be dead silent there. I would have my headphones on, and if Jake's on a phone call, sometimes he would have people into the garage, which was the office, to do meetings and pitch them on Team 10 and try to raise more money. So he's running a real business as a 18, 19-year-old at this time.
Yeah,
I'm editing the video.
What age is that?
Yeah. I think he's 18, 19, 20 around this time. So he's running full on, CEO Jake. And then I get the video done dependent on how heavy the filming was the day before, between noon to 3 at the latest. That would be bad scenario. It'd be a really heavy day. And then we'd review it together. I'd make any revisions, and then we'd publish. And then right when we press publish, it was like, okay, game on to film. So then we had noon till whenever to film, which could go, till midnight that night or whatever that was, depending on what we were doing. And then you would repeat that every single day. So it was super long days, but I loved it and had a lot of fun doing it. In my career, I was excited to be paid to do videos at this point. Like, that's where I was at. So I was just excited to be in the room, let alone being paid to be in the room. And so I was all in on the vision and the mission of creating this stuff. So I was super down to be there at 7 and leave past 7 every night, no problem for me. But that was kind of like the daily schedule. So Jake and I were super close because we did everything together. We ideated a lot of the content behind the scenes. Yes, I was a videographer, but we collaborated a lot on what was the content also, because
I could only imagine.
he knew I was the person behind him that had the most understanding of the content. And we were really good about plussing it up between each other. I'd be like, yo, say this. Oh, sorry. I'd be like, I can't put the mic down. I can't put the mic down, but I put the camera down and be like, yo, you say it like this, say it like this. And he'd be like, oh, good idea. And then we'd so it wasn't just me being like, zombie cameraman. A lot of the back and forth happened behind the scenes that no one will ever see or hear about, I guess, until now.
Yeah.
That, made stuff better or more fun. And hey, likewise, he'd be like, oh, what if we did it this way? I'd be like, oh, that's great. I'll go over here, film it over here. That's a better idea. So a lot of that stuff happened on the fly or even in the planning where it was very collaborative of what would the content be. And so we became super, super, super close because, again, it was an every single day thing, no matter what, if we were traveling, if anything was happening. And we both had a very good understanding of what the content was, what the goal was, and how to execute on it together.
Sounds to me like you were Jake Paul's right-hand man, essentially.
I'd say that's pretty fair to say.
Yeah. It's a lot different than even now, like with the streamers.
I was just thinking that.
iShowSpeed, Kai Snat, all of them.
I was just thinking that.
It's kind of crazy to see like the difference there because you were essentially a co-director of sorts.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kai's camera guys are literally just there shooting, recording, we're capturing.
No matter what.
Yeah.
They're not saying a word. They're probably not allowed to say a word, you know what I mean? Because it's live, so they can't chime in because the live streamers are the talent,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about that where now some of these camera guys are just, not to take away from what they're doing, but they're not really directing or calling or helping even. They're just making sure they capture everything, which is a little bit different than, we knew we had to create a video that was better than yesterday. And that was our vlogging mentality. And again, like we said, it was like acting. Like we had to create a TV show that was better than the TV show the day before.
Yeah, I mean, you basically had to take viewers as well from TV shows, actual TV shows.
For sure.
I think you guys were even a part of that shift from a lot of kids watching Disney Channel, Netflix stuff to even moving over to watching stuff on YouTube. Because I think that year, like I was brand new into the scene at that point, so I don't have a PhD in YouTube, but it seems like what you guys were doing was a part of that big shift where a lot of viewership was coming to the YouTube platform.
For sure.
So
it was the cadence at which we were posting every day. So if you think of kids or anyone, like they had something to look forward to and to watch every single day. And we legitimately did not miss a day. Like it wasn't sometimes it was like when I say no matter what, at all costs. Yeah, at all costs, we would post a video. Yeah. So it was
kind of annoying, I feel like, to a lot of people. They're like,
sure.
oh, again, another day, another day.
But the fans were so like intertwined with our life. They would just come up and hug you because they felt like they knew you because they were with you every single day, no matter what. And it was people's like ritual to watch the videos every single day. That's kind of what the vlogging era ushered in. And I think how we really changed the vlogging era was a lot of people were vlogging and it was kind of boring. Like a lot of the Viners started to vlog, but it was a real vlog in the way of it was really their day. So it was like, here's my breakfast. Here's me at the gym. Here's my lunch.
Daily routines.
Yeah. And like
the cold showers, the
100%.
protein
it's like,
powder.
There was no, it was actually just their day, bring a camera everywhere. Yeah. Jake was like, if I'm going to vlog, it's going to be it's going to be a show and it's going to be the most interesting thing that it can be.
Right.
So like when we started the vlog, we had segments like a show. Like I came up with an idea called Daily Dose where Jake would sit down and do a news segment in his vlog. And I would have to pull articles for whatever happened that day. That died out because we ended up thinking it was boring. But in lieu of it being a show, we were like, this isn't really a vlog. Like, it's actually not our life. We're filming a vlog. That is our life. We're not filming our life. That is the vlog. Right. You know what I mean? And that was the mentality change. That's like every day we're making a better TV show than the last day.
Right.
That was 100% the mentality every single day. So it's like, what can we do to make a crazy vlog today?
Well, I can imagine how much that helps the production process. Like as a filmmaker myself, just thinking about, like you were saying, you're shooting from noon on, and then you're waking up in the morning and you're editing and then like posting and all of that. And the editing process is a very tedious one. So I feel like if you have planned time, you have time to plan essentially what you're going to be doing, then it helps you record more efficiently, which helps the editing process. Because if you're shooting a vlog that's just your daily life,
random,
you kind of just have to record not everything, but almost everything. And then you have to cut through it to find the good stuff. Meanwhile, you guys are flipping it and you're like, look, we're going to create the good stuff and film the good stuff and then make this whole thing.
Like this is the main plot of the day. A few things will happen that are subplots. We went to go get bagels and, you know, mess with some people. That was like the morning segment. But the main plot is when we put a trampoline on the roof of the house and filmed it with the drone
Main
or
plot,
whatever.
That's the main plot.
or whatever, you know, but and then since I filmed it, I knew what was good and what wasn't. So it was super close to home because I knew what was funny that happened. I knew what was funny that was said. I knew what was epic. I knew what was important and what wasn't. So I made a ton of judgment calls on the edit of what made the edit and what didn't. So, you know, I could do a lot of the storytelling through the edit because I filmed the story. So I knew exactly what added value and exactly what didn't add value, which super helped my storytelling ability. Because like you said, we did film more than we needed, but we still filmed mostly just the good stuff. And then in the edit, you could really dictate the story of the day and make a whole arc of a video.
Right.
Because every day there was a climax of some sort. Like every day there was, and that was the title and thumbnail. Every day we did a title and thumbnail event. So trampoline on the roof, let's say. We knew that was the thumbnail image and the title of the video. So that was the climax of the edit. The whole edit led up to that part, you know? So like you said, in the editing process, you kind of knew where you were headed.
YouTube retention, making sure that's the end of the video, like making sure,
and doing something crazy in the beginning, you know, like, the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were kind of like on the cusp of that. So again, I was not like a big consumer of it, but watching it in recent years and hearing a lot of people that I know talk about it and watching some of my friends work in YouTube and stuff, like I'm learning more and more about it. So
it wasn't your demographic. Don't worry.
Demographic.
If you were a fan, it might have been a little weird. So
well, I was homeschooled too, so I wasn't even watching TV, dude. I was playing with sticks in the woods as a kid.
Throwing mud around.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Well, not to get like deeper into that, but I was genuinely curious because when you started talking about the show, it being a show aspect, and you guys being characters and stuff, you're seeing. I'm a big documentary person, so I was watching the Paul Brothers doc, and I was seeing a lot of the things they were talking about in that regarding to even his show now, which is basically boxing and all of that. My question is, when it comes to even some of the drama back in your day when you were heavy filming with them, are you able to speak to like how genuine even the drama was between them two as brothers and how genuine some of that drama was that like everybody kind of saw?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's actually, I mean, it's an interesting question. I think enough time has passed now to where it's not a problem to talk about, but it was a little of both, to be honest. You know, at this time, it was like Jake was the biggest, Logan was the biggest. Jake was the biggest, Logan was the biggest. So there was a little bit of real rivalry of like, one day Jake had more subs and more views. Next day, Logan had more subs and more views. So, you know, secretly they wanted to both be the more successful brother, I think, of course, maybe not so secretly. But what manifested from that is they realized that collabing helped each person too. So what may have started as some organic drama, and I think there always was a little bit of real drama amidst it. They realized that the more that they played into the real drama and the more they hated each other, that it helped both of their channels.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
And I think there was some,
and it did. I think,
and it did. Yeah. I mean, like they didn't all have the same viewers, which is kind of crazy to think about, even though Logan was doing the exact same style of content, had the same idea for making it a show, not a vlog, very similar for sure. But there wasn't a ton of audience carryover. So they realized that collabing helped both of them. And they were both the main two guys at the time also, basically the top two.
At the forefront, essentially.
In terms of viewership, for sure at the top, subs, it was like PewDiePie and stuff. But it was always intertwined with some genuine animosity, I think.
Yeah.
Because each one wanted to be the best.
Yep.
But yeah, the pranking each other and going and stealing each other's cars and stuff there was a phone call that happened ahead of time. So, but it helped both of them. So they knew. But yeah, there was some real drama amidst the fake YouTube drama.
Right.
But
it's a little bit of both.
Brotherly love or hate or whatever. Yeah.
Do you have brothers at all? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have one little brother
cool.
who's 4 years younger than me.
And you don't beef with him on the internet?
No, my little brother Nathan actually, fast forward some time after this, Jake was like, "Hey, you have a bunch of followers now. You have you have millions of followers. You should go not be my videographer. You should be an influencer." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I should. Maybe that would make sense."
Like, that's a good idea.
And he's like, "Who could film me, dude?" And I was like, well, "My little brother could film you." So my little brother moved from Michigan to LA and became Jake's videographer for the next handful of years.
That's awesome.
So he went through the whole same thing.
You just handed the torch.
I did, dude. I did. My little brother started in videography way before me, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny, full circle moment. Yeah.
Like back when you were kids?
Yeah, yeah. In Michigan, he was into cameras and he would edit. He would win Vine editing contests way back in the day, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool. I never understand how you do that. That's so crazy." I didn't really care. Wasn't interested, but he was on it way before me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when Jake, like your little brother was like a inspiration to even you.
Yeah, in a way that I might not have even knew. So yeah, when Jake was like, "Do you have someone that could film?" I was like, "My brother's been filming longer than I have. He's probably better qualified for the job than me."
Explain to me the paparazzi. And explain to me how that would go down, because I always see those guys and it pisses me off.
Hollywood Fix, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Those are the main ones. Hollywood Fix is the main ones.
I always get so mad because I'm like, just leave the guy alone, Poor dude, walking out of his house. But what is that like? What was that to you? Would you get annoyed at that? Was it kind of in its own community almost, or?
Yeah, this actually was a shift also in paparazzi, where they realized they would get views on YouTube if they posted clips of YouTubers. True. So this was also a media shift in paparazzi, where it became more video forward, less stills. No one took stills of us.
Right.
It wasn't valuable. No one is buying stills of us.
Yep.
But if the Hollywood Fix, let's say, it wasn't even really TMZ, a little bit TMZ, but the Hollywood Fix, if they would film a video of us and they would get us to talk to them, our fans were so hungry of content of us that they would find that, and a Hollywood Fix would go get 500,000, it would get 1 million views on a YouTube channel.
Wild.
So they started to obviously catch on to that, and that ramped up the paparazzi around all of the YouTubers, us obviously as well. And yeah, once the vlogging got big, everyone knew where we lived. And it was like Melrose and Fairfax, basically. And so not only the paparazzi know where we lived, but fans knew where we lived. At any given time during our height, when it was summertime and the kids weren't in school, there would be 60 to 100 kids outside of our house where we were living and working. I wasn't living there, but where Jake was living, and I was there I lived there. I was there all day working in the garage, which is, the front of the house. Yeah. And the paparazzi knew too. So when I would come to work or leave work, or if we would leave to go film or come home from filming, we knew we had to go through 60 plus fans. Yeah. Yeah.
Wall
of kids yelling. And that got crazy. We eventually had to hire security, but we didn't for a while.
Right.
And
yeah, I was going to say, did it intimidate you guys at all? Was there even a fear factor? You hired security at one point or another.
Eventually, yeah, they had to clear a path for us to go to our cars and stuff. It wasn't a fear, but you'd be surprised, man. Parents are crazy. Parents would come drive their kids from wherever to come to our house.
Just
and
to
then
sit there.
yeah, just to hope to see us. And then parents would get pissed if we didn't come out or sign autographs, because in the beginning it was kind of like a novelty. We'd sign autographs and take pictures.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where if you did one,
You have to do
you have
everybody.
to do everyone. And
You're
so
getting
we got to a
mobbed,
point
you're
of
getting
like,
canceled.
we're not doing anyone. We
Yeah.
can't. So parents would be like, these are the people supporting you. What are you doing? You can't even take a picture with my kid. And the parents would they would get mean, bro. And we had like a gate outside
what's
of
one
our.
of the craziest things like a parent told you? Like, did you ever get cussed out or whatever?
Yeah, dude, they would, some of these parents and kids would have the audacity to come not just in the front gate, but up to the front door. So
No.
they're in the property at this point, because we had a gate in front of our driveway and a gate in front of our yard.
Yeah, they're out here
Which is-
trespassing.
Dude, straight up. And it's like a small West Hollywood house, or like a medium. We call it a McMansion because it was one of those like square box homes,
Right.
whatever. But dude, parents would march right up to the door. And then we'd have to go have like some of our admin people answer the door and be like, yo, like, you can't be doing this. Like, you have to at least be on the sidewalk, like you
Yeah.
cannot. And dude, parents would be right at the door. Like, are you kidding me? You can't, like right at our door. And so I used to do it because I wasn't as famous in the beginning. So I would answer.
Right.
And then I started to become like, have some notoriety. So I couldn't answer, because if we got caught or filmed telling people to like go away,
Yeah, it's no.
it's
bueno.
like paparazzi being like, oh, these guys are assholes.
Right.
They don't care about their fans. So we
Yeah,
had to
you
have
get canceled right away.
Yeah, we had to have assistants and like people who weren't in the videos go tell people to shoo, and then we eventually had to do security. And this led to our Neighbors from Hell piece on KTLA. The news truck showed up.
No way, dude. I know nothing about this, so
This
you're
is
gonna have to
great.
explain.
So this is, after weeks of fans being in front of our house. I mean, imagine being the neighbor. It's got to be
Oh, yeah,
terrible.
no.
Like
I would hate you
I
guys.
don't. You don't blame them. I don't
Yeah.
blame them,
I
And
would
so-
start so many HOA meetings.
bro. That's where it got to.
I'll come with pitchforks.
That's where it got to, bro. Like, I mean, and again, I don't blame them, but KTLA showed up with the news van, like right outside.
Nice.
So this is so funny.
It's
So
always
they-
a good morning when KTLA.
So
shows
of
up,
course
bro.
we know there's a powwow, me, and then at this point we'd hired another guy, Nick Crompton, who wasn't on camera at the time, but he came from a big social media agency in the UK that he's founded.
Yep.
And he was kind of our head of like branding and kind of like COO. Like he was running a lot of stuff, but he kind of came and became more of an advisor person.
Yeah.
Ended up being a talent because he's a hilarious human, but
It seems like you guys just turned everybody into talent,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, you're our lawyer.
Yeah.
You're also gonna be in our videos.
Exactly. That's what it became. But when KTLA showed up, the inner circle was like Jake, Nick, and myself. We were kind of like what we say goes kind of.
Right.
So we're like, yo, KTLA's outside. And Nick's like, don't go. Jake's like, I think I should go out there and mess with them. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And Nick was like, don't go. And we kind of had a brief, like what is more advantageous. And then we got down to like all eyeballs are good eyeballs. So Jake fires up his dirt bike in the house, drives it through the front door, is driving wheelies down the street. The news crew is filming this.
Wow.
This is on, like, I think you can probably find these clips from KTLA.
Yeah, we're gonna find it. We're gonna put it on here.
Yeah, it for sure happened. And so we decided the best was to act like we were vlogging. And I also was vlogging, but they were also filming. Like he's trying to do a segment, the guy.
While he's on the dirt bike.
Yeah, and so after a few wheelies, Jake puts the dirt bike away and then goes out and talks to the reporter, whoever this guy is. And he's like, what do you think, about being the neighbors from hell? That's like the headline.
Yeah.
And we're just leaning into it heavily. Like, and it got to a point where Jake was like, oh, yeah, no, but I have a question for you. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, what are those? Like points to his shoe. And so just fully clowning this guy.
Fully, dude.
So that turns
Fully
into a whole
juvenile.
thing. Yeah, that attracts honestly more hate.
Right.
And, this is when we're starting to get on more of a well-known in the bad ways stage.
Yep.
Like the news, being the
Right.
neighbors from hell.
Yep.
So we're transcended beyond a niche YouTube community and starting to be like we know where, cops had shown up for a few times for a few different things. We know where
Right.
these YouTubers live.
Right.
They cause commotion, noise problem, like that started to happen. And that, that may have started a bad snowball at that time, but I don't know. That was pretty funny when it occurred, but yeah,
I mean, when given something at your front door, you either choose one or the other. And at that point, your motive was views.
Views.
You're trying to break the internet essentially. So
Yeah.
you do whatever you can to do that.
Anything to get more views.
Yeah.
But we were getting views, bro. It was hundreds of millions of monthly views.
Insane.
Every video was getting 2 to 6 million views a day, every day. Plus the old videos getting viewership.
What was the most viewed video that you ever made?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Probably 12-ish million on a YouTube video. I don't know. Maybe, some of the music videos that we did and I shot and edited are in the hundreds of millions.
Right.
So probably some of that stuff.
There you go. 100 mil. Easy.
Which was crazy, but it was compounding. We were
Right.
getting way more views than Game of Thrones, which was the biggest show at the time, like way more views. Not a lot of media on the internet was matching what Jake and Logan, credit to Logan at the time, was doing very similar stuff
Right.
with he had his same what we were doing, but his own posse, own gang,
Yep.
all across town.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Safe to say, broke the internet,
Yeah.
broke records, definitely shattered people's minds when it came to just what was possible.
For sure.
Whether that was all positive or some negative.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, you left your mark on history.
Yeah, I think
So-
I think Jake was the fastest person or gained 10 million subs in the shortest period of time, I think, at his the peak run.
How long was that? Do you remember?
I think it was 6 months.
Yeah, that's insane.
10 million sub. That was, we already had a handful of million at that time, but yeah, when it really started to go crazy.
To push to 10 million in that short amount of time, when, as I'm learning now, the average time to get to 10 million is, gosh, I want to say at least 2 years.
Yeah.
At least.
For
if
people
not
who
more.
are super fast to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We were gaining over 1 million subs a month, month after month.
Insane, dude.
And anyone in the videos was also gaining a ton of followers, me being one of them. I was getting 25,000 followers a day on Instagram
Right.
for a while.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it was anyone that showed up in the videos would just,
Skyrocket.
yeah, you just had to appear.
Yeah.
We kind of started a thing where anyone that was in the videos, we did a click, a pop tag, on Instagram now
Right.
currently.
Yep.
We animated that in the videos. So that was a thing that we started, that anyone who got in the videos could be found on Instagram. So there was big incentive for people to come over and collab with us and do anything with us, because they knew that if they just showed up in one video,
Yeah.
it was massive.
Just eat an Oreo and you get 25,000 followers.
Bro, it was crazy. You're not even exaggerating that much.
No, I believe it. I've seen it and I saw some of it happen. So I definitely
It was
believe
wild, bro. It was very, social media was more sticky back then though, in general.
Way more sticky.
Mhm.
Yep. So for you personally, what's the biggest net positive that came from being in that house specifically, but also in a creative collective? Because everybody's looking for community, bro. Everybody, creative community, just community in general. But what was for you a net positive that you came away with?
I think I went through probably the best schooling you could ever have on content and YouTube, and having lived it and done it, is something I'm literally even basing my whole current business on, is
Yep.
the expertise I gained there and the execution and what we did and succeeded at there and what I learned there. Ton of those things are still massively applicable now and will be probably for a long time. And so, I call it the school of hard knocks. You couldn't get taught this anywhere else in any other way. Only
Right.
people who have blown up with big YouTubers or been in that space understand it. The people who are around Mr. Beast, the people who are around Airac, the people who are around those kind of people, they went to that same schooling. They
Right.
got that same understanding of how to get attention, how to tweak the algorithm, how to do the small things that all add up to be the big things.
It's a completely new science for the
For
most
sure.
part.
And
in
we were
the last
were writing
years.
the books on it too.
Right,
You have to
yeah.
think about some of that was
Yep.
we would
I'm
try
waiting
stuff.
for your masterclass to drop.
Yo, buy my course coming
Yeah,
soon.
buy the course, dude.
Course link. No, not yet. Maybe one day. I've thought about it.
Just let me know, dude. I'll promote it for you.
Plug it, please. But yeah, we would try something, it would work, and we would do it, and then we would see YouTubers do the same thing, and that would be like an industry standard. The same way Mr. Beast does it now, right? Like you saw Mr. Beast, let's say his thumbnails, for example. He kind of pioneered the thumbnail science more so.
Yeah.
And a lot of the thumbnails look like his do.
Oh, everybody's does
And
now.
now.
Yeah,
And-
everybody's pretty much copied what he's created in some way or another because it works.
Exactly.
That's like everybody follows the grain of salt that works.
Exactly.
I don't know. That's not a saying, but anyway, like it. Everybody knows what works. They figure it out, and then they want to copy it because as long as they're not copyright infringing,
Yeah.
and it's going to help them.
And we watch that happen so much for stuff that we just tested or tried or went out on a limb to do and then did it and it worked. And yeah, then it became a standard, industry standard.
Yeah, yeah, easy, dude. Well, it's definitely crazy. Just the fact that you were in it, the fact that you gained so much from it, and now are able to help so many other people kind of figure it out in their own way.
Yeah.
And even just when it comes to, it sounds like a lot of people you work with are on the side of things that weren't even in that mix of knowing what was going on YouTube and even knowing what was going on social media. So now you kind of get to teach people that important lesson of how to gain people's attention for other purposes and other things and other businesses. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
that's so sick. Dude, what's life like now? Like what excites you on a daily basis now? I mean, you just had a kid, so I'm sure that gets you amped. But what kind of gets you going creatively?
It's a good question. I've been, wanting to tap more back into my creative outlets. I think I did it for work and I loved it and I've done it a lot. I think right now is the least creatively expressive I've been or have been probably.
Okay.
Maybe since I started content in a way.
Just because you kind of have a family now and you're focusing there, or because of other reasons?
Not even necessarily. I went through a weird morph with content because kind of got famous for one thing. Like I said, we were acting right. I wasn't that thing. My following did weird stuff because of that, and haven't really found an outlet of creation that has really excited me to just create in a way that I maybe once was. But now I don't know. Yeah, like being a dad makes me. I get fired up to be a dad, honestly, I think it's amazing and spending the maximum amount of time with my son as I can for sure. I think gets me really excited.
You should make short films about your kid.
Dude, honestly, would be so sick. Like chapters of his,
why not?
Of his life.
Why not?
I know that's what I need to find as a thing that I'm excited to create around. And I think I'm definitely lacking that a little bit. I'd always kind of been creating. I've been creating for a long time, whether it was, I'd been paid to create or it was my job or it was a show or whatever. And now I'm at a stage where I don't have a lot of financial upside in creation. I mean, yes and no. So now that there's no financial motivation necessarily, it brings back to, okay, what do you actually just want to do if there's no money in the equation? And it's actually a good exercise, and something I have been thinking about more lately is what's a way for me to still be a creator that might not be any traditional format or whatever. Lately my form of creation I've most enjoyed is shooting film, photography.
Yeah.
It's
you're
so
very good at, by the way. You post
thank
some
you.
on your Instagram. It's sick.
Thank you, bro.
I recently got into film too, so I'm kind of like,
it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole. Like, it's really rewarding to get the shot on film and do all that. So I would say that's in terms of a medium or a format I've been most excited to be creative in. I love getting back good film photos. It just, to me, feels like so powerful, and it feels like something you'll look back on for the rest of your life.
Oh, you will.
Like
100%
look at that moment, or like even like thinking about being a father. Oh, mom and dad, that's so cool. You took pictures of me here, or whatever that is for him.
Because not that he won't want to watch your old vlogs, but I do feel the nostalgia of the film photo.
Yeah.
Even, nostalgic video. There's just that part of your brain. It is really weird how we had that one time in history for like 50, 60 years where like film was probably more than that, but film was like the main thing.
Yeah.
And you didn't have these digital elements. You didn't have a digital camera. You couldn't shoot in 4K 60, but you had to shoot in film.
Yeah.
And I think because that is where all of this like creation in the film industry and photo industry like started.
Yeah.
It just makes it that much more rich. And the better you get at that medium, the more nostalgic it is to look at.
Yeah. And it's like quantity is a big thing with film too, right?
Right.
Just overall lack of quantity, unless you're really a rich.
Yeah.
You're not shooting film. Like you're not doing 25 shots of the same thing.
Right.
You're not going to do a roll in the same room.
No.
You know, one roll, you probably have traveled, or, you know, it might be over a month, depending on how much you shoot, or it might be one trip, but it's going to be when you were walking or when you were at your hotel or when you were at a meal. So one roll of film, you know, whatever photos you get mean a lot more because you didn't take 40 photos of the same thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go through them either. And they're
Yeah.
already edited. So it's
Yeah.
also a good lazy creator thing is because I don't edit my film. It's already looks perfect for me. And I might have 2, maybe 3, 4 max photos in one setting.
Yep.
But usually 1 or 2. And
Right.
so that's the photo I got when we were on the dock. You know, I don't
Yeah.
have options. It's like, I'm going to post that photo because it's the only photo I got on film when we were standing there. Even if someone's blinking or whatever. Whereas with digital, you would never do that. Or iPhone, you would never do that. You would pick the better one, or you probably took 25, pick the best one, post the best one.
You'd be stuck in limbo trying to figure out what the best one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the magic to film is it's lesser quantity. So each one feels a little more special.
Way more special. I put it this way. I think I've learned that film specifically, but even just photo, it's really cool how photos kind of synthesize your brain a little bit, activate your brain a little bit more to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So I like photos because you can take a photo, like you'll take a photo of your son, and then a year, 2 years, 10 years from now, you can look at that photo and your memory will recreate the scene around that photo.
That's cool.
Even days and weeks around that photo. I sometimes look at photos, like I'll go back in my camera roll and I'll see a photo and I'll think of a week prior, like what happened.
Yeah.
That kind of led up to that moment,
Yeah.
that day. And it's just magical.
That's
because-
cool. That's cool. I've never thought about it that way, but it's super true.
Yeah. You're imaginative, like your imagination fills in all the gaps.
Yeah.
And you get to replay it live.
Yeah.
in
Oh,
your
we were
head.
living here at that point, or like we weren't even going to travel to this place and we
Right.
did on a whim and we were so tired in that photo. Yeah. That's so true. That's a cool point.
Yeah, dude, it's so fun. That's why I want to keep shooting it.
Yeah. I mean, I specifically put it in an album, not physical, but a digital album where all my film goes, you know, in a world where I'm going to lose probably, I don't want to say this, I don't want to put this on myself, but I'll probably will lose some of my content.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Who knows? I'm going to make sure all of my film somehow is always like backed up on a drive or
Yeah.
somewhere where I will never lose my film, you know? I don't know.
Has to be, bro.
But-
you have to have it.
I have a lot of precious stuff on iPhone, but that feels less precious. I don't know.
I've thought about transferring, you know, a lot of different photos from just my iPhone album to somehow either put it on a hard drive or
Yeah.
even print some of it. My mom does a good job of that. She'll just print photos
It's
from
honestly
her
smart.
iPhone. And I have like stacks of printed photos that were once iPhone photos.
Yeah.
But those printed photos like mean a lot to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're printed and they're physical.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot more special.
That's a good idea. I think archiving good iPhone stuff is smart too. There's a lot of slop and screenshots and
Right.
whatever in there, but going and picking stuff from trips and
Finding the good stuff.
archival footage,
Exactly.
photos.
Exactly. Dude, so now with your life, what are some things that you like to keep in rhythm? Like, what are some things that you like to do on a normal basis that kind of keep you grounded?
Yeah, I think always doing some kind of physical activity is something I've realized is almost more mental than physical in terms of how much it's beneficial.
Yep,
Obviously,
I hear that. Yep.
Like, I mean, obviously it's super physically beneficial, but you start to realize on days you don't do something, you are more lazy or you feel different, or you might be even more get agitated more easily.
Right.
So really trying to be in a fitness rhythm where it's a non-negotiable as much as I can. And I'm realistic about it. It doesn't need to be 2 hours in the gym. I just get out and run a mile, like, check it off. Ideally, it's a good workout, whatever that is. I go through a lot of phases of what I'm into fitness wise, but
never CrossFit though. Never CrossFit.
Oh no, I'm doing CrossFit right now.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, but yeah, I think I'm trying to make that more of a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Just because I think there's like I said, equally positive mental impact as there is physical impact. And I want to live a long time, life longevity, lifespan,
Amen.
health span, and lifespan.
Me too.
We're all about that. What other non-negotiables? Yeah, like, being a really good husband and father, I think I'm really, obviously that's a process. I've only been a father for 4 months, so
Right.
I only have 4 months of experience, but
It's longer than me.
trying to just, always be thinking about how I can be the best version of that.
Yeah.
And husband as well. Like, I think it's very important to me to always show up for my wife, try to do a lot for her, and, be a really good person to her, servant to her, example to her, and whatever that may be. Again, everything goes through phases, like I feel like I'm in a really good fitness phase right now. So being a good fitness example to her, or sometimes I go through a really big cooking phase, being a really good example of like that, or like providing meals. But always trying to.
What's your favorite meal to make?
Oof. I'm big on like the Italian dishes for sure. So like a pasta, carbonara, or I don't know, just some rich pasta dish.
Yeah.
Is that, and a glass of wine is like peak for
High
me.
on the list.
A pasta and wine is like, come on, you can't beat it. Especially when you nail it, when you cook it and you made it better than the time before, or it was like a good time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
You just gotta.
yeah, just the finer things.
So good.
I nailed it.
Molto bene.
Molto bene, sì. Molto buono.
That's awesome. Do you speak Italian? Like, dude, let's talk about Mackenzie.
Yeah.
A little bit. Dude, what about Mackenzie made you say, that's my wife?
Oh man, I almost got goosebumps. She's incredible. She's like an all-around human being. Mackenzie was for sure the biggest no-brainer of my existence. I think like she's an electric person, and she has a magnetism about her. She can light up any room, and she's the star of any room. I'm the quiet one. I mean, I kind of am. I wouldn't say I'm a quiet person, but when I'm with her, I'm the quiet one,
Yeah. You're thoughtful.
I just listen more.
It's
but
a good thing. Wisdom.
yeah, one of us has to listen. No, she listens too. But yeah, she just has an insane energy about her, like a very magnetic individual. I always say she could make friends with a brick wall, like genuinely will make friends with anyone, from the crazy guy on the boardwalk to, anybody, the barista knows their name, and is just such a personable person and cares so much about each person, to the point of like, I look down and we just spent a half hour talking to the homeless guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, not to have less sympathy for the homeless guy, but also let's go.
Right.
I'm late at this point. Like Mackenzie, we got to go. But it's something so
Special,
endearing
though.
about her. She makes my world a lot bigger, and it's conversation. You can learn something from anyone, and I think she's taught me that in a huge way. Of like, everyone's worth having a conversation with, and she has totally expanded my world in that regard. Is super genuine, super nice, super caring. She always had like mom energy also from the start. And I think it's important to think about that if you're looking to marry someone and if you want to have kids, having a motherly instinct or like aura about you is also important, because if you actually want them to be the mother of your children, they actually need to be the mother of your children. And as a mother, there's so many things that they have to do that they can't get out of or skip out on. The dad can, which is bad, but the mother can't skip out on birth, pregnancy, breastfeeding if you choose to do that.
No, she got to do that.
She can't, and obviously the father shouldn't. They should be as helpful as they can, but you have to think about how motherly your partner is if you want to have kids with them. And that was something she had very, very early on, always has had that about her. Is super stunningly beautiful. Of
Yeah,
course, that
yeah.
was the initial. Before I met her, it was very easy to tell I wanted to talk to her.
You got to be attractive.
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean,
be
like
attractive.
that was the first and foremost. But
Right.
beyond that, yeah, she's, is a genuinely incredible human. And what I say is like, everyone gets the same version of Mackenzie. She doesn't like turn it on because it'd be more beneficial for her to be friends with you.
Yeah.
She's equally as genuine to the homeless guy as she is to the CEO of a company or the person who's going to cut her check or me.
Right.
And I think there's something super powerful about that. And, I need to learn a lot from her in that regard. I think, I'm quick to maybe cut a conversation short if it might not, benefit me, which sounds terrible, but I'm being transparent in saying that.
Yeah.
And not that in a social climber way, but like, hey, I got to go do something else, but she's going to give everyone the time of day.
Right.
And I've learned a lot about her, a lot from her about that is like, kill them with kindness is her number one thing. So I'm bad cop. She's good cop, which is good. Because I'll like ask for a better table and tell people they messed up, if I need to.
Right.
But we need the good cop, which is Mackenzie, to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I like your nails today, and you're so cute, and you're beautiful, and thank you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, thank you." So yeah, I'm a
Right,
nice
right.
person, I think, but she is like super next level. So it was everything about her, honestly, like from the very beginning.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I mean, I've only met her once, but I concur with like everything you just said. I think even in what 3-minute interaction that I had, genuinely got all of those vibes off of her, and just cool to see like your dynamic too. I think you were saying, like I can definitely see how that balance is played out
For sure.
but also how you guys like build off of each other as
Yeah.
well. Like I could tell that just right off the bat, and even just from the way you talk about her and your relationship. Definitely, I see it.
Thank you, bro.
So
Yeah, I think we're a good balance. We're both Leos. Our birthdays are 2 days apart.
there you go.
So I say fight fire with fire, but
Yeah,
I think we're on different ends of the Leo spectrum, but
yeah,
we balance each other out good. I need her to lean into those longer conversations, and sometimes she needs me to pull her out of those conversations.
Right,
So
right.
I think we go well together in a lot of aspects, and she's an incredible mother. It's like, it's like might as well be her fourth kid. It seems like
Yeah.
she's just done this. But she has a lot of nieces and nephews, and has always been an incredible aunt, and so it's been right in stride for her to be a mom, and has handled that with such poise, and so much admiration for her. I mean, not only how she's a mother, but pregnancy and birth, and that's an insane thing.
Tough journey.
It's something one of those things that you don't understand until you really are living close to it.
Right.
I know a lot of people have siblings and stuff who've gone through it, and it's a wild thing, and it's a lot on females. Like it is an insane amount of everything: work, stress, pressure. There's a lot of joy with it too, but it's very admirable. Once she gave birth, I had a profound gratitude for every mother or mom
can imagine,
or even just female in my life or in the world, because you're like, wow, that's very, 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 it's a very crazy thing.
Yeah, super crazy. I mean, my mom had, like I was telling you earlier, like
Bro,
10 kids. So
that's insane.
I'm not married yet, but I
That's insane.
definitely have a little bit of perspective on that whole journey, and
Yeah.
have a lot of respect for my mom.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like you said, anybody else who's gone through it.
Anyone who's even done it once, let alone
Yeah,
10,
yeah, she's a saint
that's superhero.
for sure. Superhero vibes.
Yeah.
What's one of the main ways you love to show up for her in those moments where she's kind of going through it, and like how do you kind of come alongside her?
I think acts of service is like my thing. So I'm very big on doing whatever needs to be done, you know, like very much, what do you need? How can I help you? And then going and doing it, getting her a thing, or, trying to be, doing something that will help her, or, sometimes Mackenzie needs a push on things. And so I want to be like that. If I can help push her, or just provide it for her, or get it done for her, or but I think mostly my love language is acts of service. So I think I really try to be, hey, how can I help you? I think I actively ask her that question like 20 times a day, or like, can I get you anything, is one of my main questions to her all the time. And so I think, looking at it now, externally, I think I probably show up mostly in acts of service and trying to just do as many things for her as I can. I try to be the doer, you know.
Yeah.
She's like the philosopher and the thinker, and I try to be the executor. Like, I think that's how we balance each other too. She's like, oh, we should go do this. And then I'm like, okay, what are the tickets? How are we going to get there? Where are we going to sleep? You know, that
Right.
kind of thing,
Right.
which is a good balance. Like, she's great at coming up with ideas. I'm great at executing them. And so we work together good in that way of, oh, it'd be cool if we did this. Okay. How can we actually practically do this? What's the date?
Right.
You know, when can we make it happen? How do we need to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know your roles very well.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's kind of natural, but yeah, I think we kind of realize that where we fall. You know, she's like, "Can you call the airline for me? I'll
You're like,
rebook
"Yes,
the
babe,
tickets."
I can do that.
yeah. It's like she like feels like bad for inconveniencing the airline people. I'm like, yes, I'll call Delta.
You're like, you mean this is all I have to do?
Yeah, this is what you've been struggling with for 3 days. Okay, just tell me, I'll do it. Like, just ask me, I'll help you. Yeah,
That's incredible. You mentioned like the way that you guys operate and how like she brings you better and you bring her
for sure.
strengths out or make her weaknesses better, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That reminded me of like kind of where I come from and my belief system. We call that like sanctification in way. Have you heard of that before?
I've heard that term, but I guess I don't know.
Okay.
Like, by definition,
It just piques my interest.
like
'cause
sanctified.
Sanctified. It's basically, it deals with the realm of like we're sinners and we're being sanctified to be more like Christ, essentially.
Okay.
But I was just wondering. I mean, I know we've slightly talked about faith
Yeah.
before, but I just didn't know like your take on that, because I think that's what I look for when I'm
Yeah.
like trying to date people and trying to find a wife is, how do we interact, and are we building each other up for the most part? Are we
Yeah.
sanctifying each other? Are we causing each other to not nitpick at all the little things we're doing wrong, but genuinely be like, oh wow, you know what, I could have been a lot better in this scenario.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, you're the person who sheds light on that area of my life in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I want
For
in a
sure.
wife, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just, for me, I'm just like wondering what your thought process was, because it sounded like you were kind of there too, but I didn't know if it like went deeper than that or if you just noticed that.
Not really. I kind of take everything one step at a time, you know, with
Yeah.
meeting someone and relationships and everything. It wasn't, you know, in terms of, I think like with Mackenzie and I, it was very natural, which we had more of a natural connection immediately. So, I think a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about was a little more natural for us. Not that we're perfect or everything's easy or we don't argue or everything. Of course, everyone, you know,
Right.
relationship is work.
Right.
Anyone who says different has not been in a long one or a real one. No
Yeah.
offense to anyone, but it takes work, and like that's a part of it. But I think a lot of that stuff happened naturally for us. You know, Mackenzie and I, when we met, we weren't very big on we talked about stuff like religion and what do you believe and what do you think about, but
Right.
it didn't determine how we felt about each other.
Yeah.
Because we had, you know, different religious beliefs when we met, and to an extent do now, not in a crazy way, but Mackenzie's more in it and I'm more out of it, I would say, just speaking in a general sense.
Yep.
But we never let that be a thing that defined our relationship, so to speak. So it was never a deal breaker. It definitely was something that was talked about, and especially when you have a kid, you have to then think about what are you going to give on, what are you going to tell your son? How are you going to teach him? How are you going to raise him? So it actually became a conversation later in our relationship more than it did in the beginning of our relationship. But it wasn't because you think this and you think this, it can't work or it won't work.
Right.
We didn't put a label on stuff like that. And we kind of, again, took it one step at a time, and we're really open to hearing about each other's thoughts and ideas around religion and what we each believed and how we thought about it and how it factored into our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, you know, just generally not really religious. I've been leaning
Right.
into it probably more now in this chapter of my life than ever in my whole life.
Yeah.
Currently, but, you know, was essentially zero when we met.
Yep.
Mackenzie's always been in and around religion her whole life in some capacity.
Yeah.
Not an insanely devout person by any means, but also always in it. You know, it's been a through plot for her whole life.
Right.
So we were for sure very different in that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think we yeah, we didn't really let that define our relationship,
Right.
which I think was good. And we for sure had deep talks about it. And she for sure said, hey, I wish you were this way. And, you know, likewise. And that stuff came up again,
Yeah.
like a relationship is work, like that happened, but it wasn't.
You wouldn't be getting this far without addressing it in
Of
some
course,
way.
of
Yeah.
course. But it never came down to a deal breaker. And we both ended up being open-minded to all the possibilities or all of each other's beliefs, let's say.
Right.
And it was, yeah, we just, I think, agreed to be open-minded about how each other felt.
Yeah. Totally, man. I mean, there's plenty of people that overanalyze it.
For sure. You can't put the chicken before the egg, I think, too.
Right.
You know, like, of course it's great if you line up with some person in every capacity, but, you know, maybe people change. Don't let that be the defining factor. You know, they can change their whole life in a year or in 6 months, right? They could devote their life to God or do whatever, or the opposite or whatever that is. I don't know. But yeah, some people put the chicken before the egg, I think.
Definitely.
Too much.
Definitely.
It's like, don't stop a good thing before it starts, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm definitely someone who's done that in the past.
Yeah.
I think because, like you said, it's important, and to me, it is really important.
Yeah.
So I think I probably scrutinize that bit of a deal more than you would.
Yeah.
Between us two, but at the same time, I've learned to kind of scale back, because I think me as a young kid growing up in a religious background and knowing that that's something that was of value to me, I genuinely put it like up here. So it's like, oh, if you're not even here, we're not even talking.
Yeah.
And I think now it's a lot more open, where it's still a wise thing that I hold on to, but I also want to get to know the person.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I can't just, there are a lot of things that you can tell. If someone's like, yeah, I believe this, and then you can kind of deduct, okay, well, then all of these subcategories are probably going to line up, but you still don't know until you talk to the person.
For sure. Just because they believe in XYZ doesn't mean they're not a bad person, and inverse.
Right.
Just because they don't believe in XYZ doesn't mean they're a bad person.
Right.
But I think you're right. Like, you got to at least dig a little deeper before you make a full judgment call. But that's all part of it. Yeah. You got to give it a little time.
All part of it, dude. You said you were getting into faith. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
So for me, it's actually a genuine exploration. It was
Okay.
never, it was never put on me or forced on me, or I never was around it at an age where, like a young age, right? So it wasn't something that, oh, we just did this.
Right.
We just went. We just believe this.
Youth group Thursday nights, I just went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people's experience with religion, not everyone, of course. And so it just is something they always did. And it was very natural. And my family never made it something that we just did, but they were very open to, like, if you want to do this, go ahead and do it. We're open to going, or we're open to supporting you. But my parents weren't really ever telling me one way or another. Right. My grandma was very religious. She kind of was almost pushy religious. And I think maybe that's why my dad wasn't so that way with us in any one direction or another.
The opposite way of the pendulum.
Probably. So I got it from her, you know, and she would pray for me and all that stuff, but I never spent enough time around it to even know about it. So I wasn't even, and still arguably I'm not really educated on it enough to even formulate a big opinion.
Yeah.
However, in the last,
Just smart. I mean, you should be educated.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, like, I have just genuine conversations with some of my friends who are more religious. Like, I just ask them questions.
Yeah.
Hey, so if, you know, Jesus was here, what happened around this time? And I'm not being like, oh, I hope they won't have the answer. I don't know, you know, like, I actually just don't know.
You're genuinely just curious.
Yeah. Like, it's actually very interesting to me, and ignorance for me is bliss on this subject, because I do have a lot of friends who grew up in the church. They worked at a church. They still work in a church.
Yeah.
I have friends who are preachers, pastors, like good friends of mine.
Right.
So, it's cool to get to tap them for information, but for me, it's been more of an organic exploration of, I'm interested in just learning what's the story, how did it happen, the avenues of faith. In Mackenzie's and her family's instance, they're, you know, Catholic.
Yep.
And so we go to Italy a lot, and
love Italy.
we've spent a lot of time around Catholicism because of Italy, you know, being in Rome, being
Yeah.
in the Vatican.
Yeah.
They have
First Pope from Chicago, baby.
bro, shout out,
Let's
right?
go.
Let's go, dude.
Midwest.
Leo's holding it down, dude. It's like the Pope has had a hot dog, you know? We got to think about that, dude.
That's a special.
That's crazy.
Special moment right there.
That's actually crazy that he even speaks English, let alone from Chicago.
The Pope has probably worn a Michael Jordan jersey.
Bro, he's had deep dish pizza, not just Italian pizza. No. Anyway, that is actually crazy.
Wild.
But yeah, Mackenzie's family is involved in the Catholic faith. They're patrons of the Vatican arts as well. So
That's cool.
we've gotten to do some cool stuff in and around the Vatican that, you know, most people don't get to do. And I've had a crazy in-depth look. And so for me, it's like the Discovery Channel, you know, like I get to just look around and listen, and I'm like, wow, it's like super interesting. And this was painted in this year, and it's significant for this reason, and all of that stuff. And I'm kind of like treating it like a little kid, you know, I'm not like, oh yeah, this is what I believe, but more so, this is just so interesting. I want to learn more, and I want to learn more.
Right.
Because it's so deep, obviously. It's just so much history.
There's so much, dude.
So much, like.
I don't think we're supposed to necessarily understand all of it.
No,
That's my take.
it'd be very hard unless you like study this your whole life. But I've talked to people who've devoted their entire life to faith since a young age, and I've had genuine conversations with them. You know, I've ridden trains with them from city to city in Italy, and just. They've asked me about my faith, and I've just said, hey, here's where I'm at. And then I asked them about theirs, and they go, oh yeah, I started when I was 6, and, you know, devoted my life since then. It's like crazy people who are on the farthest opposite end of the spectrum. So now I'm the most open-minded I've ever been. I know the most I've ever known, which is still not a lot, but
Yeah. Same.
there
I
you go.
grew up in it.
Yeah.
So,
The more you learn, the less you know. The more you know, the less you, I don't know. Anyway,
truly.
you realize you don't know a lot when you learn more.
I mean, if we're going deep, dude, that's biblical.
Yeah.
Like literally, I just looked up the verse, Matthew 18:3. If you're trying to learn more,
Yeah, let's go.
I think you're on the right track.
Let's
and
go.
I want to encourage you in that because, like, I never want to make this podcast about like explicitly Christianity, faith, whatever. Like, I myself believe that Christ died on the cross, and then I'm saved because of that, and then I'm a sinner and need that. But like, I never want to like make that what this is. But I love talking about it, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's funny you're like explaining this whole journey this way, because I think that's something that I've learned recently as a believer, and kind of was always taught these things growing up because I read the Bible verse, literally read this verse 1,000 times.
Yeah.
To truly grasp the reality of the fact that we are finite beings, so we're not going to grasp everything, and we shouldn't grasp everything.
Yeah.
Is just like, to really know that is so comforting, because then you can be a child, and you should be a child.
Yeah.
And you should ask questions of your friends who are in faith, also just straight up God too.
Yeah.
That seem doubtful.
Yeah.
That seem like you're questioning something that maybe shouldn't be questioned.
Yeah.
You should ask those questions.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how are you going to find the truth? And how are you going to like figure out like where you're at and move forward from there?
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think that's part of building your own relationship with it, you know, which everyone has, right? Everyone is at a different relationship with their faith.
Right.
And I think that's all a part of it. You know, I've always had faith in something, right? Like I still, ever since, I mean, I don't know when I like had an awakening moment, probably when I started to do more personal development when I was in my late teens. I started to read a lot of books and like, but I always had faith in something greater for sure. And I never necessarily knew what to call that, but I was always tapped into the fact that there's something larger at play.
Right.
Which the ideas I developed about that for myself, when I talk to my religious friends, they say like what you said is like, dude, a lot of the stuff you're saying and a lot of philosophies you like harbor are stuff that is written out in the Bible, just in different like ways.
Right.
And so I don't know, although I haven't been religious in maybe the technical capacity, I do feel that I lead a very spiritual / religious style of life, and my beliefs are super in line with that, which I think is why Mackenzie and I like don't butt heads on this
Right.
necessarily,
Yeah.
because we kind of operate at that capacity. And when I was like, you know, late nights just yapping with my friends
Yeah.
and me just being super transparent, asking all these, you know, questions as a student or a child, they're like, dude, like that's what it says in this verse. Like you brought up, like it says that what you're saying, like it literally says this. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like that's a core principle I live my life by. So it's kind of interesting how as I learn more, it seems like we're all kind of saying the same thing. And it's a philosophy or a way of living your life that you know, believe in a lot of these principles, and why
Right.
I'm understanding more of religion and how powerful and beneficial it is because, you know, it's a lot of the stuff that I've always thought or read or studied my whole life,
Right.
just literally written in this book time after time and repeated a lot, you know, always do this, you know,
Yeah,
do more
dude.
onto others than, you know, all of that stuff is like hammered into you. And these are
Right.
like the core principles.
Right.
So
It quite literally holds society together.
yeah.
And you see that like through history too. And the more you read through like historical books, the Bible is a historical book. So
Yeah.
the more you read through that, like you realize it's not like the Bible, the whole Bible isn't just the 10 Commandments.
Right,
Like
right,
a lot
right.
of people are like, oh, like I don't want to read the Bible because it's going to tell me not to do stuff and all this.
No.
It's like, dude, not even half, the majority of the Bible is literally just historical context.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to read through that and see the differences between societies that like chose to chase after God, or at least read the word of God, read the Bible, and at whatever point it was, like read what the Bible was and read the word of God,
Yeah.
versus like throw it away and worship other things. And you literally see destruction, blessing.
Yeah.
Destruction, blessing. The whole Old Testament is like destruction, blessing. And even following just like the Jewish people, whenever they would throw it away versus pursue after it, it would be destruction, blessing. So it's just
Yeah.
crazy to watch that. And
Yeah.
you like start to wonder and you're like, okay, well, it makes sense
For sure.
why like this is such an important aspect of human life, of morality, of
Yeah.
like
Morality,
flourishing and blessing
For
of like
sure.
us as human beings, you know?
Yeah. It's like core foundational principles that I think to go out and maybe learn the way I learned is harder, which was maybe just reading books, that self-help books and books that
Right.
kind of deep philosophy style, I don't know, books maybe
Yeah.
that are saying the same thing in a different way, maybe.
They kind of dance around it a
Right.
little bit.
They kind of don't use
they're
the
like,
word.
Yeah, it's like this. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's literally this. Why don't you just say this?
Exactly,
And they're like,
exactly.
well, we just don't want to like.
But you would
say
never
it.
have a kid study a book like that, right? So
No.
when kids start to study the Bible at a young age, they get the core foundational principles
Right.
of just how to be like a good, you know, society serving human, like someone who wants to
Yep.
help others and
Yep.
be worldly and, you know, just be good, like inherently good.
Inherently good, yeah.
So that's why I'm, you know, just now I understand it now more than I ever have.
Yeah.
And that's again piquing my interest more and more. I'm watching like religious YouTubers, which is awesome
Nice.
because these guys are so smart. They're like, I don't even know what, like, not Bible scientists, but anyway, they went to school to study
Theologians, as they call it.
theologians. And so
It's a big word.
That's awesome.
For me.
And they're like, it's like a 25-minute video of just a piece of a story of the Bible. And they
Right.
break it down and they pull context from the Bible. It's so interesting.
Dude.
And this has been like getting me going because I'll just be in like a hole late at night, like on YouTube, like Mackenzie's asleep. And I'm like, dude, babe, I just watched this crazy video about, you know, whatever the subject was, but the guy's like legit. It's not just some dude being like, I think this happened. It's like, dude, this guy's devoted so much time to studying it.
He's the expert.
He's literally has a master's degree in this exact thing. Like, it's
by
not
his
just
course.
Yeah, bro. I'm saying, man, like, get him on stage. But it's been fun to be a student and not have like, you know, no strings attached, so to speak. Just like, just learning for the sake of learning. And that's kind of where I've been at for the last few years. I'm being super open-minded. You know, we went to church on Sunday.
Yeah. That's sick.
And like, you know, I've been going to a lot of church.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. So I'm super down for it and open to it and go. And I love to hear the word and I love to hear, all of the messages are always positive, obviously,
Right.
and like at the end of the day, how incredible is that to get a positive word?
It is. It definitely makes my week. It
Yeah.
defines my week. I think like there was a time in my life where I kind of like stepped away stepped away
Yeah.
from my faith or just the pursuit of it, I guess, because that's what it is. It's a pursuit. It's an everyday pursuit.
Always. Yeah.
Bible talks about like pick up your cross daily and like follow me. And it's like, what does that actually mean? It's a daily, hourly, minute thing.
Yeah. Relationship,
relationship,
Yeah.
just like you and Mackenzie, like you're communicating like none
Yeah.
other.
It takes work. You have
Yeah.
to be thinking about it. Yeah.
For sure. So, but that Sunday morning for me, like that was like a huge conviction because, in the evangelical church in America, there's like altar calls and it's a lot of stigma around it, because it's like the altar calls are, like come receive Christ, come accept Christ into your heart. And it's like this whole thing, like when did you actually accept Christ? All that stuff.
Yeah.
But like a really cool thing my church does is they essentially do an altar call every Sunday, but it's not an altar call. It's more so just like, hey, you probably need to talk to God. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you that you do, but I do, and most everybody does. So here's a bunch of carpets. Come talk to him.
Cool.
And I think for me, that's just been such a defining moment every week because not only am I hearing the word that's uplifting my soul and giving me something gritty to think about and be convicted about, but it also puts me in a state of humility to know that, okay, if I'm going to work on anything in my life, it is a relationship. Like I got to put in work.
Yeah.
So I like promised myself like 6-7 months ago that every Sunday I was going to go up sit there.
Love it.
And even that little small change has just been so good for me.
Yeah.
Because it just puts me in that place every week. And then it starts my week off with that. And then every interaction that I have after that is, I'm still kind of in this humbled state because of the way that I started the week. So
yeah,
I agree, dude.
It's a lot of power. It's a very powerful thing. Like unity, the unity that's had there, unity and belief. And I mean, I think it ultimately is massively beneficial for a lot of people, bro, for most of the world, is believing in something. And I think it ultimately has massive benefits. Of course, nothing's perfect and there's problems in any belief system. And I always equate it to like veganism. Like, I love that you're a vegan, but you don't need to necessarily make me one, but I'm happy for you. And maybe I will be a vegan, maybe I won't, but it's really hard to also be a vegan and not eat a little bit of dairy. And you got to work on, it's like, is that our light going in and out?
Light keeps going in and out, but it's okay.
Or we're talking about religion. It's very beneficial. And I think I'm realizing that more and more. And as I, again, understand more about it, but still just trying to be a student, be open-minded, keep learning about these things because it's incredibly interesting.
100%. Yeah, I'll read that verse that I never got to read, but basically like putting a book in there. Matthew 18:3, it literally says, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven."
Wow.
That's like such a heavy
That's so
topic,
heavy,
but also so comforting.
Yeah.
Because I think we complicate everything so much.
Yeah.
At least I did. I was like, oh, like I got to do all these things. I got to be this good person. I got to like fix myself in order to even have a chance at knowing Jesus or knowing God. And this verse is literally saying, you will never enter the kingdom unless you make yourself like a child, unless you become humble and you ask these questions that seem like they shouldn't be asked, and you do these things. So anyway, going back to my encouragement to you, I'm like, just keep asking the questions, bro, because it's literally right here. It says that's the way. So
yeah, I love it. Leave your ego at the door. Just be curious and always be a student and always be curious. I think that's awesome that is written, because I think that's so true. I think I heard that in church a few weeks ago. Maybe they referenced that or something about children and being more like children in a way is very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, in Jesus' time on earth, which was like 30 years or so, he was famous for constantly kind of like telling people to kind of reference the kids. He'd be like, look at the kids, see how they just come up and sit around me, like see how they just want to learn. They have wide eyes and open hearts. He's like, be like them. Like,
I love that.
Why are you so worried about this job that you're doing? Why are you so worried about trying to fix your friend? Like, why are you so worried about the politics that are going on? He's like, I got it under control. Like, I already said I got it under control. So just come and sit and be with me, because that's all I want from you.
Be curious, be open-minded, I love that.
Yeah, dude.
I think that's a philosophy for life in general, not just, religion. Like be more like the kids, man. Like genuinely enjoy each moment, play more, have fun. Yeah.
I was going to ask you this earlier, but you kind of like answered it a little bit, but I think I'm still going to give you a unique answer. So I'm going to ask you, if Instagram and YouTube disappeared tomorrow, why would you keep creating, and why?
Good question. I think since I'm not in a place of posting so much currently, it's a little easier to answer, but I think, it's a crazy bookmark in time whenever you create that, like we said, photo or video. Even looking back at videos I created 5 years ago or 2 years ago, it's a crazy bookmark. And I think just the amount of memories you can vividly have is insane. And I saw some TikTok about someone being like, imagine you're 90, what would you do today? That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but imagine you're 90 looking back at like how you talked, what you said, what your kid was like at that day when you were 30. It's got to be super impactful. And we're in a place now with media that we can keep it and see it for the rest of our life.
Insane.
And our parents were kind of, our generation, they were on the cusp of that. And they have media that we've seen, home videos and stuff, but it wasn't as easy or as simple.
Or at the scale.
Oh, zero, like not at the scale at all.
Yeah.
Which is so different. But we have the opportunity to create little bookmarks in life, I think, with content. So for me, especially, speaking like that's like dad speak now, but thinking about the time, it's just timestamps. So creating content and having, looking back. And I even think too, like you create a video of a vacation or something, let's say vacation as an example. It's a really cool way to look back on it versus looking back at all the raw videos.
Right.
Which are you more likely to kind of be like, oh, you're like, here's a little 1 minute, even if it's a little reel, Instagram reel.
Right.
Here's a little 1 minute recap of our time in XYZ place.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool to look back on versus just like a bunch of videos on your iPhone, which not to say that's any less valuable, but
it just takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
And again, with the photo theology that I was talking about earlier, it also applies to video. So with video, if you're editing something together and you see like a 3-second snippet of someone like saying something funny, you're going to see that in a sequence of a bunch of other videos. You're going to see that pinpoint it, and then be able to build the whole entire story out anyway. So it's really cool to be able to make those little videos. I've been doing the same thing. Like I never created a YouTube channel, never did that. But I've been making these videos that could be YouTube videos if they wanted to be. But I don't want them to be. And they're genuinely, like I call them home movies. Genuinely home movies. They're raw footage from like a VHS type camera because I want that vibe. Because I remember, like you said, like growing up watching my parents, raw footage, 30 minutes
just
of my
rolling.
mom running around the house
dude.
rolling. And I'm like, oh, I can do the same thing, but use my knowledge of creating content and creating films and stuff to make something that's going to bring out more emotion and be able to like put me back in that place quicker.
I know I've been trying to film more like that. Like, especially when Mackenzie got pregnant, I was thinking about filming like a home movie because I was so much in the clips. You know, get a clip, it'll be good in the edit. You only need a clip of this.
Algorithm.
I'm like, okay, I'll just walk around, just do what my parents did. Like, just roll for 5 minutes. Even that feels crazy to me to just roll for 5 minutes.
Long.
But like going up in the bedroom, hey babe, she's like pregnant, like, hey, and then I walk downstairs and I point the camera in the mirror and wave. Like it's such like a home movie vibe. But even filming like that, I'm like, dude, even if this isn't edited and I look back on this It's going to be crazy. And I found myself filming the inside of my house, like just walking around, pointing it at things, because I was thinking in the future of like, when I watch this, I'm going to remember like, oh, we had that couch that time, even random little stuff, right?
This is
like,
my thinking chair.
yeah. Back when that was the newest thing. We just got that thing right there and that I filmed or whatever. And then being like, we thought that was so cool at the time. But trying to film more like a home
Do you have
movie.
a Peloton?
No.
Dude, imagine like filming, look at the Peloton. Your like grandkids are like, bro, what the hell is that?
Yo, what are you doing? You had one of those. Yeah, there's something, I don't know. Yeah, I was
Magical.
have a lot of raw footage that actually is edited but not exported in a timeline of all of Mackenzie's pregnancy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's
Even that though is better than not having any footage or just having a bunch of raw footage that's not even cut together or whatever.
And it's like a 20-minute video too. I left so much talking in and didn't do, again, like the cuts between every breath you say.
Yep.
I let us tell stories and talk and got more away from the YouTube-y cut and more into like, it's actually how we were talking, you know, cut out a lot of dead space, but not between every breath of air that you talk, like just attention.
Gotta breathe. Gotta breathe. I think those videos are the things that prolong life and prolong legacy.
Yeah.
And I think they're the most important. So we're in the same boat on that.
Yeah. I want to start publishing stuff like that where, you know, it will never get lost. I mean, YouTube could go away and it could get lost, but it might just be living on the internet forever. And I'll go back and be like, man, remember that?
Yep.
I think that's pretty cool. Timestamps.
I think it is too. Love the timestamps. So sick. Dude, what does it mean for you to be creative?
Another good question.
Something I ask pretty much everybody that hops on.
Yeah, another great question. Yeah, I think like doing something without an intended income, you know, whatever the medium is, like film, let's say. I have no intended outcome of the photos. Like I want them to be cool, but not because there's a brand or anything, right? Like I think
other incentive.
There's no incentive behind what you're doing. I think that's kind of genuine creativity and kind of what we were just talking about. There's no upside or whatever. Like, no incentive to do a home video film or a 25-minute YouTube video. Like I'm not monetized like I used to be. It's not going to make me a bunch of money. It's just genuinely what I would put out because I think it's cool or I think it's a timestamp, you know?
Right.
I think if there's nothing tied to the outcome, that feels pretty creative to me. But that's a lot of forms. Like I've been doing ceramics now for a long time.
Oh, that's cool.
I actually teach ceramics on Thursday nights.
Dude, I would have never guessed.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
I'm
gonna have to come to a class.
You have to come. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I want to make really cool stuff, but ceramics teaches you to be emotionally detached because it will break or crack or blow up or whatever will happen, which is really good. But I don't have a intended outcome. Yeah, I want to make someone a thing and it breaks. I'm like, damn, I would have liked to give you that bowl or something. But it's pretty organically creative for me because I'm making just for the sake of making. And again, yeah, I want it to be cool, but if it doesn't transpire or it falls over or blows up or doesn't work out, I'm not like sad about it.
Right.
And
move on to the next thing, move on to the next project or creation.
Yeah, next piece, whatever the thing is. I think that to me is creativity, is creating for the sake of creating, I think.
Right.
With no goal. I mean, other than making something fun or cool or something you might think is cool personally.
Right. Yeah. Do you think we as a society like put way too much pressure on creating now then? Or
well, yeah, because there's so much scrutiny and comparison. Not even scrutiny. I think it's just comparison more so. It's like people think there's a bar. I also think it's an incredibly great time to be creative in whatever fashion you think is creative. TikTok is an incredible place for this.
Right.
Someone will just make an edit that they think is cool and it will blow up because it is cool and it's something no one's ever seen before. But on the flip side, people starting out feel like their edits need to be like that edit or need to be like XYZ's edit. So I think there is more pressure around creating because people feel like if I want to be And a lot of people are doing it with the goal of being famous on social, let's say, or goal of being rich as an artist or whatever. So, which I think every artist basically can say they didn't start that way. Not every artist, but most didn't start with the goal of that. They just started organically creating. But I think now with social, so many people want to be influencers and want to be this, that they put a lot of pressure on what are they creating and how is it going to look like this person's or something. But I don't want to be full pessimist on that, because I do feel that we're able to view the most creativity we've ever been able to view in the world.
A lot of inspiration.
So on the flip side of that, there are a lot of people organically creating with no intended outcome or whatever,
Right.
that are finding success that we might not have ever been able to see before. You know,
Right.
you think of like Michelangelo, you know, how far did his work travel in his lifetime? Not super far. I mean, he was super famous even in his lifetime, but still it only had a finite amount of travel, where, you know, the next Michelangelo is posting on TikTok right now.
Right.
So, and I can see that tomorrow if he posts tomorrow.
Yep.
So there's an amount of creativity that's being viewed by the world that was never previously possible. So
Right.
I don't want to be full pessimist. I'm very like optimistic on creativity, because it's, and people can get inspired from every corner of the earth, from anywhere.
Yeah. Talk about education too.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting educated through this window of social media to be able to see this guy that's doing something at a level that you maybe want to do. And
For sure.
you're like, oh, wow. Well, heck, I could maybe even connect with this guy
Yeah.
at some point
Yeah.
if I really wanted to. But
Yeah.
if nothing else, I can watch his stuff and learn and maybe make something just as great, if not better or
Yeah.
unique, because it's me. And yeah, it's kind of insane how
It's crazy. It expands your world too. Like, you see something that you didn't think was possible, and then you maybe go out and try it, and you also are able to do it or something like.
bring it to your local community,
Yeah.
elevate your
Yeah.
community around you. Yeah.
There's a ton of positivity in that everyone's so quick to be so negative about,
Right.
I think, social and the impacts, but it'd be ignorant to ignore there are a lot of positive things happening, because we're able to view media at such a, you know, so quickly.
Right. I personally think it just comes down to the self-control of each person. And because there's so much to consume these days,
Yeah.
talk about, like, you know, being in a place where you're growing and getting better and being more discerning about, like, stuff you put in your body and stuff you consume. If you can do that now, you can do that at such a higher
Yeah.
level than people used to be able to. You know, there's a lot more going around now. And so, like, it's really hard to cut through. But if you can be someone that's self-controlling and cut through all of that and pick the things that are truly going to help you grow, it's like, I don't know, you're like more concentrated growth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to find the words, but you have this more concentrated growth that, like, propels you further
Yeah. No,
at
no.
a faster rate. Someone in the comments, let me know what I was trying to actually say there.
No, I agree. Like, the human brain wasn't meant to be able to deal with the onslaught of input, you know,
Right.
or all this. So yeah, if you can control, what you're intaking, I think that's a good point. It's very powerful to be able to control your intake. I think it does
Right.
guide your output as well.
It does, yeah.
But
It's very difficult, by the way.
it's so hard, dude.
Still trying my best. Started reading fiction again, just straight up fiction.
Good.
Like simple kids fiction recently, because I was consuming way too much television, way too much TikTok, Instagram Reels, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, my output wasn't that great because I was only consuming this one form of art, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was the form of art that kind of desensitizes your brain a lot. So
Yeah.
it's not something that I'm preaching out of, like, success. It's
No,
genuinely such a tough thing to do.
I'm
but
working on it as well.
Yeah, I think it makes us better people when we actually are willing to dig in deep and fight that battle.
It's hard though. Yeah, we're not wired to be. I mean, these things are built to hack our attention. You know, it's very hard to do that. But I same. It's like an ongoing battle with me as well. You know, to try to spend less time, spend more concentrated time versus just no point to it.
Right.
Doom scrolling versus scrolling for a reason, or trying to source inspiration versus just, for every inspirational video, there's 10 others that are just brain rot. So,
which still bring connection, bro. I send those memes. I send those memes.
There's still value to that as well. I agree.
Well, dude, I feel like we could talk for 3-4 hours, but for the sake of you guys listening, I'm gonna put a pin in it. If you guys want to have Kade back on, let me know. Throw it in the comments. We'll come back on for another 2 hours. But
part two. We didn't even scratch the surface, man.
Didn't even scratch it, dude. But I appreciate that. Like, I think when starting this podcast, my goal is to have conversations like this, and I'm really thankful for it. I think it enriched me, it blessed me a lot, and
bro, likewise.
Hopefully everybody watching. So,
dude, same. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. What a good excuse to just chat.
100%. Monday night chats.
Monday night, dude.
Should make it a thing.
Every Monday, right after Sunday, dude. We're feeling refreshed.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. No more Monday blues.
Yeah. No. Only up on Monday.
Dude, I appreciate you a ton.
Bro, likewise.
Wish continued blessing upon you and your family, bro.
Dude, thank you so much.
Of course.
Same for you, and thank you again, bro. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. See you guys. Peace.
You're listening to the Created to Create show.